How's it guys, Munash here, and today I just want to talk about Kitty Pryde real quick. I know I generally don't make videos like this, but I felt like this was important and worth talking about. And I see KT1 already made a video addressing it, so good on him. So a couple of hours ago I made a poll asking if she should be nerfed, and the results were fairly close. I mean, it's 55% no and 45% yes last time I checked. And I never expected the majority to say yes, but just the fact that 45% did is still quite a lot. But what I found more interesting about the results were the comments. In fact, I only decided to make this video after reading all of them because I want to address a few things. So Kitty Pryde is still a pretty new champ, hasn't been out for very long, and she's already making waves in the contest. Pretty cool looking champ with a very unique set of abilities, which allows her to do some of the most broken stuff I've ever seen in certain matchups. And what's crazy is and I'm sure many other people saw this coming. Because if you just read her abilities, the first lines, literally the first two lines of a SIG ability, if you pull up her description or go on Aunt May, first thing you'll read is, while phased, take no damage from any source. And then the second line says, while phased, gain up to 250% defensive combat power rate based on SIG level, and pause phasing while being struck. After reading that, the first thing I thought was, wouldn't that make a pretty cheesy counter against certain champs that counter miss? Or against nodes like, I don't know, True Focus, which has been plaguing Boss Island in Alliance War for a couple of months now. And let's not forget, the main reason it was introduced was to stop the two most broken champs, Quake and Ghost, from doing their thing in Alliance War. Although Ghost is still kind of usable because you can still phase, you just can't make the opponent miss. Whereas Quake is pretty much useless on Boss Island now. And as many of you know by now, my only gripe with True Focus is that it counters other champs that rely on miss and evade like Mr. Negative, Tigra, Elsa, which is kind of a ripple effect on trying to counter just Quake and Ghost, and we've seen a lot of that throughout various pieces of content, and honestly, I would actually be happy if they just outright banned or put a lock on Quake and Ghost from entering Boss Island fights. But Kabam do not want to just outright ban certain champs, so that's not gonna happen. So to me it was just mind-boggling that they would actually release a champ like this in her current state. I mean, I just read the first two lines of her abilities and already saw red flags. But then I carried on reading thinking maybe it's not actually that bad, maybe the phase duration is not very good, maybe she has other weaknesses or relatively low damage. Yeah, nah, I mean, she's got a lot going on when it comes to phasing and prowesses, but I wasn't sure how practical or effective she would be without seeing some gameplay. So I saw some gameplay and oh my goodness, this champ is just absolutely insane. Unfortunately, I don't have any gameplay to showcase because I just don't have the champ, although I suppose I could hop on the CC beta and do some stuff, maybe another day. But I'm sure many of you have seen some gameplay by now. There is quite a couple of it on YouTube already. I've seen some pretty crazy stuff from Cam and Buddy Lee. There's a Hazard Shift Nova fight from Alliance War floating around, not sure who that's by. Okay, I just checked, it's MCOC, Damn Epic Whale, and there's a couple of other stuff from Canval, if I'm pronouncing that right. But yeah, I have been watching quite a bit of gameplay, and I'm just like, how? How on earth did this make it onto the live server? Like, what on earth were they thinking? Because you don't even need to play with her for more than an hour to realize how broken she is. And I've heard a lot of people say the same thing, which is why a nerf to me would make sense. Now, before you pick up your pitchforks and hit that dislike button, just hear me out. It's not like I want her to get nerfed per se, because nerfs are generally difficult to handle, mainly because there's a lot of people who invested a lot of time, effort and or money into acquiring the champ, and sure, they can compensate to a certain extent, but we all know Kabam don't do cashbacks. Even units. When last did they compensate us with units? They'd rather just give out items which can be borderline useless to certain players. I don't know how many items I've had expire from compensation, but let me not digress. So many would agree that Kitty Pryde is overpowered, and the main reason why I want to see her get rebalanced is so Kabam don't have a hard time designing future content. Because we've seen what can happen when they try to counter one or two champs. They just end up making a lot of other champs less effective, which can degrade the quality of the content. Now I know a lot of you might be thinking, what about Quake and Ghost? Shouldn't they be nerfed as well? Shouldn't they have been nerfed a long time ago? Like, what makes them so special? And to that I say, probably. I mean, I actually agree that Quake and Ghost should not have been released as strong as they are now. But that's a whole different issue because of timing. I mean, those champs have been out for some years now. So nerfing them now would open up a whole can of worms I'm not sure anyone is prepared to see, unless you just enjoy watching the world burn, of course. But yeah, I don't know how Kabam would even deal with that. Can you imagine if they announced that right now, Quake and Ghost nerf next month? Dude, the community uproar would be truly spectacular, like oh wow. And if I'm to be honest, and contrary to what some of you might believe, I would actually be okay if they nerfed Quake and Ghost right now. No joke, cause at the end of the day, I just want a good game, a clean and balanced game. A fun game that is also very important. And if nerfing 1 or 2 champs is the way to do that, then so be it. And at least Quake and Ghost require a lot more skill or effort to learn compared to the vast majority of champs. And that's another thing, cause if Kitty Pryde was the hardest champ to master, then I wouldn't mind so much that she's broken. We might not even know it yet cause we'd still be trying to get a hang of the champ. But yeah, I like the idea of the hardest champs being the most powerful ones. Good incentive to put in the time to learn them. That being said, Tigra needs buffs, like she should be better than Doom. Now, the way they go about rebalancing is quite important. It can even be more important than the actual nerf itself. Take Namor for example. Remember when he got nerfed? There was a lot of backlash for a few reasons, and one of the main ones is they didn't really do a good job in terms of communication, which is one of the most important things because a lot of people didn't even know what the nerf would entail, what abilities or values would change or how much weaker he would be. Then the nerf goes live, you try him out and you're like, oh wow, this is not that bad, I mean, he's mostly the same. They didn't change the important stuff like he's Sig, so why did they even nerf him? And that was another reason for all the backlash. He didn't really need to be nerfed, and the fact that they didn't change that kind of proves it to a certain extent. So they could do something similar with Kitty Pryde, you know, change 1 or 2 things, and she'll still be great. Because the thing about a nerf is, you don't have to take a champ from good to bad. She can still be a top tier champ, just not brokenly overpowered. So I'm not suggesting anything drastic, just a few tweaks here and there. Even just removing 1 or 2 lines from a Sig and changing 1 or 2 numbers could be pretty decent. Or they'll just go the usual route and introduce some new champs and nodes to counter her, which might or might not counter other champs as well. But I can see them introducing a cowardice global or defense tactic for future seasons. So I don't know what the best solution is, I'm just throwing ideas off the top of my head, but I just felt like we should at least have the discussion. I even brought this up in the CCP Discord, which I never do. I'm usually just busy and I don't use Discord much, so I'm probably one of the most quietest members there. But today I spoke more than I have in all the other days I've been there combined since January this year. So at least they know how I feel about this, and many other people feel the same way. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. Hope you guys found this interesting, and let me know if you like these type of videos. But as always, thank you for watching, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.